how do you replicate them moments? And again, we are going to flip-flop because it's Andy Powell and there's so much to you. But if we go to when you retired, if you give us a snapshot of that life at the age of 17 where you're gambling, you're all over it, 20 you're in France, and as loose as it is, that is part of your story.
Yeah.
When it switches off, do you think that that's
Yeah,
the struggle?
Yeah, it's a struggle. I think I probably should have been managed a lot better. But probably looking back then, it wasn't probably many coaches who could manage wild players. I'm probably not as wild compared to some. But I just needed somebody to put an arm around me and just say, right, you need to do this, you need to do that. But nobody did it. No, somebody just said, oh, forget about him. He's too wild. He's uncoachable. And if a coach says he's uncoachable, you have to be a bad coach. The top coaches in the game now can get the best out of any player. And you know that. And it shows with some people. And I'd probably say if it wasn't for Warren Gatland, I'd probably die young when I joined Cardiff. I probably wouldn't have done what I've done. And a lot goes out to Warren Gatland, what he done for myself. The way he handled me. And, he's back in Wales now, and I think he'll get the best out of them.
In terms of handling you, what do you mean? What does that mean? Because Warren Gatland is one of the greatest of all time. And we'll get onto the Welsh stuff later, but for you personally...
somebody just to put an arm around and say, right, you need to cut this out. If you ever got a problem, come and talk to me. If you've got that little thing in your back of your mind thinking you want to do it, just phone me up and I'll come with you and have a beer and stuff like that, just sort of...
Like a father figure?
Yeah, like a father figure, yeah. And, yeah, that's what he did.
And he was genuine? It was deep-rooted?
You could trust him. Mm. With some other coaches you couldn't trust.
But that's mental because he's the coach of Wales, right? And the British and Irish Lions, he's the boss, the people that you don't want to show your true self to because...
But then he'd understand at the same time.
Why? Why do you think that is?
Well, I just think it's the person he is. He's just... Well, you speak to everybody. Everybody loves him. He's a great coach. And I wouldn't say he's the best coach. He's a very good man manager and a great understanding of how to get the best out of every individual in that squad. And still, at the same time, he allows people to sort of have a few beers and get on with their own life. But when you come to training, you have to have your head on when you go.
So if you're coming into training, not that you're reeking, but the day after you would be, how was he with you? As long as you've won, or did he have to pull you aside and say, look, mate, not good enough?
There's been one or twice, once or twice he said it, but I can remember the one time I won 14 grand on a bet. And... well, it was more than that, but that was the one other time. 96 grand was the other time.
I beg your pardon?
And I come in steaming.
How much was that?
96. And I come in steaming, and I showed him the betting slip. And I had to front up, and I beat everybody in fitness. But you couldn't do it very often, otherwise you'd be gone. But that's the kind of coach he was. He was brilliant.
You say you beat everyone in fitness. One thing I always remember playing against you, but seeing you aesthetically as well as you were a freak athlete.
Yeah, I was. I pushed myself to the limit.
Both ways.
I used to say to myself, if I don't come in the top 3, I'll die. And I always used to push myself. 2011 World Cup, I was one of the fittest in the squad.